Welcome back to the Daily Rundown. I'm Dan Morfitt with Stephen and Maddie tonight. It's now time for There's Something to Say, which gives my guest the chance to rant and rave. So firstly, Maddie, what is your something to say as a pop culture party warrior?
To give that some context, that's the name of a blog that I run and write posts on. And a lot of what I write about is sort of positive thinking and the power of positivity and how you can change the way you think. And I feel like everyone goes through a phase where they learn about positive thinking, maybe when they're in their sort of late teens. From personal experience, I would say it was then. And in recent years, a lot of female bloggers have talked about radical self-love. It was kind of started by a blogger called Gala Darling on her own website. She kind of coined this term, and it's about learning to see yourself the way that you want to see yourself and not how society teaches you. Because when you're growing up as a woman, obviously there's a lot of sort of misogyny around and a lot of media influences and things like that that can really bring down your self-esteem. And it's about learning that it's okay to be confident. It doesn't mean that you're bossy or domineering. You don't have to constantly monitor your behaviour. So of course, positive thinking and things, it's for like all genders. But as a woman, you want to really make sure that you're sticking up for who you are and the people who are oppressed in society. So
And
that would be my target audience.
with this positive thinking, how are you the pop culture party warrior?
I think that's a cool term because I blog about things that I like. So Buffy, feminism, astrology, just anything that's kind of interesting. And the party warrior side of it comes from the need to stick up for who you are and to just be assertive, but also to train yourself to sort of be grateful. You know, that's talked about a lot in positivity and positive thinking. And I do think that's important. And obviously it comes across in a really airy-fairy way, sort of at first hand. The idea that you should list things that you're grateful for, it seems to our cynical English brains kind of far-fetched and unnecessary, but really it's so simple that you can control your thoughts. And I think when you learn that you can just become a happier person and really accept yourself, it's quite life-changing.
Has this got roots in psychology and maybe cognitive behavioural therapy?
Definitely.
Or is it a bit more layman and just like, be positive, think it? Maybe even that term that I've heard a lot, fake it before you make it. Is it doing something first and then you'll become it? No.
There is that. I think it's more actually just believe that you are it. You know how people say for a job interview, dress for the job that you want as if you already have it. It's that kind of mentality, and I think it makes logical sense once you look into it. If you're grateful for things, you will look out for things to be grateful for. So once you force yourself to think a certain way, because obviously it takes some time, then you can just automatically do it. It's kind of like retraining your brain, and the mind is so powerful that you really can just become a happier and more pleasant person. And obviously there's a lot of work and there's a lot of influences on that. But if you can say affirmations and things like that, which is saying like, I release the past, I let go of my mistakes, and it's a conscious choice that you have to do. So I write things like 10 tips on how to love yourself more or how to get rid of the blues. So obviously not full-blown depression. I don't claim to be God or a psychiatrist, but you can really influence the way that you think.
And being a blog, I'm guessing you can forward people onto like other videos and other pieces of writing on the internet, so it makes it all inclusive.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to this? Think positive and it will be positive?
I think the mention of the CBT, and I think that it's a fantastic thing that people like Maddie's doing, because I think that the blogosphere and social media and the world is full of bile and venom and people telling people that they're not good enough, and I think it's very important, as you say, is to I've for 20, 30 years now had a liberal battle with the stick of mental health, and yeah, you need to learn. I know it sounds, as you say, it sounds a bit a bit 1970s hippie kind, and 60s hippie sort of thing. You need to, if you don't love yourself, then nobody else is going to love you. And I think that is something that I learned very early with my struggle, is that I understand that I am a bag of pluses and minuses, but I have pluses in there, and I have a support network, and there are people who seem to like me and seem to think that I'm a good person, and I think they're good people. So essentially, if I'm not a good person, then they're wrong, and I don't want them to be wrong. And I think that there are areas of this. I think that there are areas that I do back away from. I'm not a subscriber to people like Tony Robbins and
He's got very big hands.
Yeah. Let's not get to the Trump and the small hands, big hands thing. I just think that, and The Secret and the think it and you will achieve it, those kinds of things. I think that, but do you know what? It's like faith. If it works for somebody else, and it doesn't work for me, and I've looked into The Secret, and I think that some elements of The Secret to me does make me a little bit chilled, and it does have sides with that I don't think it's a little bit twee and a little bit too much. But if it works for somebody else, then that is what works for them. And for me to sit here and go, that thing that works for you, I don't believe in it, so I'm going to destroy it. Now there are things I believe in that they might look at and think, you don't believe in that. I'm a firm-hearted believer that a cup of tea and a slice of ginger cake can solve most things.
Jamaica ginger cake.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's quite nice though that you were saying, all 70s and hippie and flower power. It's quite nice though that we can have this discussion now, and you can go online and blog about it, about this positive thinking and mental health and wellness. And it's becoming more open. People are shooting it down less. That's quite a life-affirming thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like I was thinking about how it's essentially just self-care. And I do think that you need to be reminded, a lot of people anyway, need to be reminded that you need to look after yourself first, and then you can look after other people or sort of be there for other people. So even though it's wrapped up in this bow of like self-love or radical self-love and terms that sound very jazzy, it's really just self-care and telling people or reminding them of how to do that. And not just that, but the idea that you can sort of create a better reality. I think it makes logical sense that if you expect good things to happen, you'll be more likely to take steps to achieve them. So it's not like swallowing a pill and saying, think positively and good things will happen, read my blog and good things will happen. I would never say that, and that's not what it's about really. It's just saying you have the power to achieve what you want to achieve. You don't need self-limiting beliefs. You can just believe in yourself no matter what tier of society or who you are.
It's if you're looking out for your own happiness, you also look out for the happiness of others.
Empathy needs to be bigger, needs to be trendier. And hopefully that will happen with all these little voices on the internet. Hopefully.
We've used the word trendier tonight.
We have.
Is that
That's
a bad
amazing.
thing?
No, I've never used it in that. I've never heard it in that context for a while. I just keep hearing trending about Twitter, but that's a better way to use it. Thank you for your something to say, Maddie. And pop culture party warrior. Just search that on the internet, and they'll find your words.
And put WordPress after it. That might help.
Pop culture party warrior. Stephen, what is your something to say?
Well, as you can tell by the look of me, I'm a coiled spring of anger and fightingness. And today I want to talk about an art which I've started to look at recently, which is the art of Muay Thai boxing. I've kind of looked for something to kind of look to get something that also has an element of fitness. I think the move now is more into the fitness world and that kind of the Thai bow and all this kind of stuff. And the Muay Thai is a martial arts. Now, it's called the Art of the Eight Limbs. Now, it sounds confusing, but if we can remember the old head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Yeah. Now, in Muay Thai, it's fist, feet, knees, elbows. So it's
just because you say elbows doesn't mean it's two limbs.
No, I
elbows.
know, but it fits in. So I think it's fist, feet, knees, elbows, fists, feet, knees, elbows, knees, elbows, knees, elbows, fists, feet, knees, elbows, fists, feet, knees, elbows, knees, elbows.
You're not going to sleep now, are you?
That's it.
All
Fists,
night.
feet, knees, elbows. But yeah, it's a good way of fighting. It has a more kind of, it is more than just, I think a lot of people think that it's just kickboxing.
There's a spiritualism to
There is.
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai, yeah.
I know a man called Bob,
Yes.
don't we all, who teaches Muay Thai, and half the teaching about it isn't about the kicking and the fighting. Half of it is about meditation, inner thoughts, self-reflection.
Yeah.
Sort of what we've already been talking about tonight.
But also, not mostly, also the spiritualized side of it. Yeah, it is. It's more that spiritualized side, but also within that, it is. As you say, it's more of an entire thing. It's more about the whole fight, and it's about the effectiveness of the strikes as well. So it's not just pure volume, you know, it is about the whole fight. And there is that, as you say, that spiritualism. There's none of the kind of rough and tough kind of, I'm going to do this because you're a generally nasty person.
And isn't there an aim with Muay Thai as well, for the perfect fights?
Yes.
To get the right hits in the right places at the right time to disable your enemy. Not to maybe say like mixed martial art where it's just hit them as hard as you can, knock them out, win.
Yeah.
It's almost there's a ballet to it.
Yeah, there is. I mean, within MMA, there are other, there are the strikers, but there are other sort of arts, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that sort of arts. But with the Muay Thai, like you say, it's about that kind of having the perfect fight and having it over the whole entirety of the fight. So a fight you may start as a fighter, you may lose the first couple of rounds, but you can kind of over that time build that up. And I think it is just, as you say, it has that more spirituality aspect to it. It's kind of also, as you say, it's more of an art, whereas in kickboxing and other arts, you might have the clinches as more kind of broken up, whereas in Muay Thai, the art is, that's where a lot of the elbows and the knee strikes will come in from there. And and looking around sort of just, there is a main event going on, on May the 14th when a gentleman called Panikos Youssef and a 17-year-old young female fighter, Dakota Decheva, who has been featured in Elle and Vogue and is in Hello. So it's not just these Muay Thai stars of today, the MMA and UFC fighters of tomorrow. And I think it is just as you say, it's an art and it's a way of fitness without just pure kind of the violent side of it. In there, although you can have shin kicks and you can actually strike below the waist, headbutting and gouging are out. So, Jose Mourinho couldn't be involved in Muay Thai,
So you're watching this at the moment. Are you also going to do it?
Well, I want to sort of get involved with it. It's the sort of thing I'm looking around, at the moment. If kind of at the Comedy Hobbit, if you're a Muay Thai trainer out there and you want to fashion me into the next.
I'll put you in touch with my friend. We might go on a Muay Thai retreat to Colac or something like that.
Excellent. Yes, let's do it. It's almost like I've said it on a television show, and I might have to now follow through on it.
We might not get a freebie to Thailand.
Excellent.
Thank you both for your something to say tonight. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with the last bit of the last daily rundown of the week, with some of the thankfully less serious stories of the day. Another break now, but please don't go away.